Hi, this is Raj from Sportscars. In this video I'm revisiting driving a beautiful 981 Cayman S. This is a beautiful Guards Red one we've got in stock at the moment, and I just wanted to actually cover again how sensational these are as two-seater sports cars, because a lot of people are looking at buying these now as a result of them being so practical in terms of having two decent sized boots. It's basically a two-seater hatchback. They're very reliable and they also look fantastic as well. This car here is actually in some senses quite basically spec'd in terms of performance options. So it doesn't have sport chrono, it doesn't have PASM, it doesn't have the switchable sports exhaust, but actually the purity of this recipe with things like the hardback sport seats plus nice flourishes like the brushed aluminium interior, the red dials, the red belts, and the fact that it is Guards Red with extended Guards Red paintwork on the mirrors, the lower splitter at the back, and also the Cayman S inscription on the doors. It's actually quite a pure car. Sport chrono is great, particularly with this 7-speed PDK, but even just in sport mode it does wake it up, and also even when you're driving in comfort mode it does make it more alert, more responsive based on how you're using the pedals, so the brake and the accelerator. Steering feel is fantastic in these, even though this was the first generation with electromechanical steering. And the one thing that people absolutely love, and that includes me, is the flat six sounds that these cars produce. Is just, it's so soulful. This has got 320 odd horsepower. It's a 3.4 litre flat six, direct fuel injection, and the character of this engine, even when you start it from cold, it just sounds raw. It sounds very very Porsche. Not the modern Porsches with all the turbos, but the flat six boxer sounds that you're used to is very much alive and well in this 981 series Cayman, and that's what you see being reflected in prices. So these now are very similarly priced to the later 718s, which most of the models are flat four turbos, either a 2 litre or 2.5. They did reintroduce the flat six, but only in the form of the 4 litre GTS and obviously the GT4s as well. But these cars are just so sensational on the roads. The weight's exactly where you'd want it to be, right in the middle of the car. You're positioned perfectly for visibility, to see everything around you. There's enough glass to see safely all around, check all your blind spots, that kind of thing. And you're sort of hunkered down in the car. Obviously, if you've got the seat low down like I have, you can lift it right up if you're a bit shorter. But the visibility is great. The driving position is fantastic. The steering wheel is exactly where you want it to be, as are the pedals, as are all of these controls. That was a big update on these cars, is updating the sort of look and feel, ergonomics of all the controls. This era also isn't sort of overrun with electronic controls rather than buttons. It's still got buttons for things like the sport mode, for start-stop, for putting the spoiler up and down. You don't have to go through a computer menu on a central screen to sort of control things. So it means you can do things without looking at the buttons. So when you know where they all are, you can turn the heated seats on without really thinking about it. You don't have to go into a sub-menu within the Porsche communication management system. The sat-nav and things are all relatively up-to-date as well, and they work really well. The definition of the screens and everything are great. As is all of this other technology that sits with these cars, such as all the traction control, ABS, start-stop and everything to keep you safe and also not spend a fortune on tax is in these cars. But I would say the crucial thing is that the actual Porsche feel hasn't been diluted as a result of the EU regulations or wherever you are based in terms of safety, emissions, that kind of thing. It's still a fantastic, well-balanced, well-honed sports car that you'll enjoy driving every time you get behind the wheel. mean, I just love the sound. So this car's now fully warmed up. It was completely cold when I set off, and the sounds, the induction sound that you hear, because you've got the induction vents behind the doors there, it's just intoxicating. You don't have to be going a million miles an hour to really enjoy it, but it's so easy to put on speed on these cars, and yet you don't feel intimidated by how they drive. It doesn't make you feel at sea when you're going super fast down a bumpy rough road like I am now. You do feel where the car is, how well it's planted, and there is so much traction. You don't have to worry that it's a rear-wheel drive car. They have so much traction through the tyres. As long as you've got decent tyres on the car, they are just absolutely perfect to drive. And the feel through the steering, the absorption of bumps also by the suspension, even without PASM, the non-PASM system like in this is 10 mil higher than a car with PASM. So again, it's less likely to catch curves and things, but also it's set, the suspension setting is set halfway between the comfort setting and the stiff setting on a PASM car. So actually it's a pretty good setup car. It doesn't feel like it rolls through corners or anything like that. You've got so much feel. And communication is the key, I think. You can just feel the car communicating and talking with you at every step. I just find it very, very addictive driving these cars. All the different ones. The 2.7s are fantastic as well. But for me, the 3.4 has got the right amount of torque, the right amount of power. It will accelerate to 60 in around, I think, 4.5 seconds or so. But it's the feel and the communication that I love particularly. You just feel you're driving a proper sports car that hasn't been defined by having to work around a huge amount of weight or complexity. It's still relatively simple. There's no hybrid systems. I just can't get over that sound. You can have so much fun in these cars, and that's why I love them so much. And I thought I'd just revisit it because the options, we do tend to focus on cars with lots of nice options, and this one does have lots of nice options, but some people have a tick list of it has to have chrono, it has to have PSC, has to have PASM. And I would argue these cars are great even without those things. As you can tell, there is nothing about this car being a slouch. It's just behind the wheel. And also as a passenger, they're incredibly comfortable as well. Very capable, long distance tourists. Very, very practical. And a great ownership prospect. Hopefully you do agree with me. If you have any comments about 981s, particularly this 981 series, please don't hesitate to comment below. Please do like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.